All right, everybody, I've just finished cleaning up my station. So now we're ready to do our curry. Okay, so I've got my Dutch oven here, and I've preheated it, and I'm going to add 2 to 3, probably two tablespoons of oil. Make sure that it coats the bottom. All right, and then we want to season our lamb. So I'm using a little bit of ground black pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon, and a little bit of salt. Also about 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, I'm going to just add that to the lamb. And I'm just going to kind of use my fingers and make sure that everything is coated. There we go. Excellent. Okay. So now we're going to sear the lamb. So we need to get ourselves, let me see. Let me grab this real quick. So I want to grab my splatter screen, okay, to go over. And I need to get, not quite ready, my spoon. Okay, so as you can see, there's smoke coming from my pan. That's what I want. So I'm going to add my lamb very carefully. To the bottom, and I'm going to spread it out. The small amount that we're doing, you can easily get, well, in a Dutch oven this big, I can get all of it. If you're using something a little smaller, you may have to do 2 batches. And what we want to do is maintain somewhat of a high heat, okay, because we want to brown the lamb. So this is going to take just a little while to make sure everything is done properly. All right. I'll take the lid off. There we go. Those in, I'm just going to start to flip them, and we're going to brown them on all sides. Please be very careful, everybody, not to splatter it up on your wrist. As you can see how it's coming free from the pan? Because I had a nice hot pan to start with. If your pan's not hot, 2 things are going to happen. 1, the lamb is going to stick. 2, it's not going to brown, and we want it to brown. I mean, that's where a lot of our flavor is going to come from, is from the Maillard reaction that occurs when you're browning meat in a pan. So we got that, and it's going to have to come out. So I'm just going to set a little plate right there. Excuse me. Turn up my heat a little bit. The reason I'm doing that, I didn't have to look into there, meaning, look into my Dutch oven to know my heat needed to be turned up. I can hear it, okay? I can hear the sound that's coming from my Dutch oven. So now I'm going to get back in and just kind of rotate everything again. Now, I'll admit I'm pretty good at using a spoon, but you certainly may find that, a pair of tongs might work better for you. Go ahead, guys. Use what's best for you. We just want to make sure that we get a nice brown color. Let me try to get out of the light a little bit. Or give us a little light. I don't know why she's saying that. You can see the bottom getting a nice brown color. Okay. There we go. So this is a stew, okay? Excuse me. Wash my hands. First we are browning for not only color, but more importantly flavor. Then we'll be adding some of our other ingredients. You know, our onions are going to go in, our ginger, our garlic, our tomatoes, our chicken stock, our spices. Potatoes are going to be towards the middle end. I don't want to throw the potatoes in right now because they're just going to cook a whole lot faster than the meat. We want to make this meat nice and tender. So that's going to take, you know, a good hour and a half. So let me kind of see if I can pull a piece out. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, what we're looking for. Nice gold brown, dark brown, chocolatey brown, if you will, color. We just want to be careful not to burn the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to put that splatter screen back over. This is kind of be a two-part method, okay? First is going to be the browning of the meat for flavor, for color. Then we're going to add our onions. We're going to cook our onions with our ginger and our garlic for, you know, about maybe 4 minutes till they start to soften. Then we're going to add our stock, our tomato product, and our spices. We're going to cover and then we're going to cook. And we're going to cover and cook until the lamb becomes tender, fork tender. Which means, you know, if I go to put a fork into it, the fork slides into the cube of lamb with very little to no resistance. Kind of like if you've ever made chili Colorado, or if you've ever made green chili stew, you know, with pork, you want that lamb to be that same consistency, that same soft, not mushy or overcooked, but just a soft kind of breaks apart, you know, in your mouth easily. And we just can't rush, you know, this step. By the way, the rice is completed, okay, and the rice will be a side to go with this. It took the rice about 20 minutes, 23 minutes to cook. After cooking, I took the lid off, okay, and I just let it kind of cool for about 15 minutes. Then I gently fluffed it with a fork, and then I've just set it into my oven right here, which is set at a very, very low temperature, just to keep everything warm. So I'll show you while we're waiting for our lamb. That is our rice, okay? It's got nice, fluffy, individual grains, okay? Still has the cinnamon stick in there, which I need to fish out, and it still has the cloves in there that I need to fish out, but I'm just keeping this warm in my oven. This can actually be made even a day ahead. So we'll keep that in the oven warm. Alright, let's take a look at our lamb. Oh, nice. Okay. So I hope you can see inside there. That lamb now is nice and brown, and it's ready to come out. Okay. All right. So there's our lamb. Again, let me get some good light. As you can see, the pieces are got a beautiful kind of rich brown mahogany kind of color to them. Okay, that's what you want. As well as the bottom of the pan. Okay, also has that same kind of color to it. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's got that same color. So now what I want to do is add just another tablespoon of oil. I'm just using a little light olive oil, but any oil will work. And I'm going to add my onions. Gently give those a little stir. Okay. Take a moment to clean up. All right. All right. The onions also need a little salt. A little pepper. Again, you at this point now should kind of be able to season to your own family's liking. I will, word of caution, be careful with the amount of salt that you initially put in, because this is going to cook down. It is going to reduce as far as the liquid, and when the liquid reduces, the salt is going to stay behind, and you could end up with a salty product at the end. So be, again, real careful. Okay, just kind of reposition that. All right, so watch your heat, sweat your onions. Okay, so again, should be able to see inside there nicely. It's got a beautiful color to it. The onions are picking up the juices from the meat that had cooked and kind of browned on the bottom of the pan. It's got a wonderful flavor. Let's go ahead at this point and add some of our ginger. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of ginger, and I'm going to add all of that garlic. That was about a tablespoon of garlic. Give that a little stir. That's really good. Okay. Once I start to smell the aroma from the ginger, from the garlic, I'm going to then add my tomatoes. So I'm going to add all my diced tomatoes. I had fire roasted tomatoes, a can of those, 14 ounces, 14 and a half of fire roasted diced tomatoes. I like that product, so that's what I'm using, but any diced tomato will be fine. Okay, now I'm going to scrape the bottom, make sure that I get all those bits off of the bottom. Okay, just like that. And now I can start to add some of my spices. Now, as I mentioned to you guys before, I don't like a lot of cumin, so I'm only going to add about half of what the recipe calls for. Add my garam masala. And I added 1 big heaping teaspoon red chili. I'm just going to add just a pinch. I can always add more. Curry powder. I'm going to add 1, 2 heaping teaspoons of curry powder, and I'm going to add all of my coriander. So there's 1 and about a half of a teaspoon. And I'm going to mix all that in as well. There we go. Now I'm going to add my stock. Give that a little stir. And now I'm going to return my lamb and any juices that have accumulated as well. Okay, there we go. And I even want to rinse off my plate with a little water. Make sure I get all those juices in there as well. Okay. There we go. Now you're going to find that as this cooks, the level of the liquid is going to probably drop a little bit. It's going to evaporate during the cooking process. Even with a lid on it, it's going to evaporate a little bit. Well, what I'm going to use to top off is a little water. So as I notice that the level of the liquid drops a little bit, and that's what I want to kind of maintain. I want to maintain a level of liquid so that everything is covered just on the surface, you know, but